Hello again, everyone. Still enjoying your day? Okay, that was a really enthusiastic response. Something to get really enthusiastic about is about pandas giving you insights, and that's exactly what Andrii is going to talk about. Give it up for Andrii.
Hi, guys. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Okay, very well. It's about Jupyter and Pandas to the rescue. So a little bit about me. I'm a software engineer. I'm not a data scientist. I have been so far in 4 teams at bol.com, and currently I'm in team 1S, and I'm mainly programming in Java and Golang. Let me just show you what is really Jupyter. So it all starts with Anaconda. So we first install Anaconda Navigator. You can download it from the internet, from Anaconda website. It just started with 0 configuration. Then you have Jupyter. Actually, there are 2 versions of Jupyter. This one is more complex, and this Jupyter notebook I'm going to talk about is quite simple. And it allows you to create your Python notebooks and run your code instantly in a web application in your browser. And then when you press this launch, I already pressed, you will go to your browser. Where is it? Yeah, here's it. And you will see something like that. I have one so-called notebook up and running. The full concept is you have cells, and in these cells you write your code and you actually execute it. Main concept of pandas is a data frame. It's sort of matrix, so you just specify a matrix and populate it with the data. So I have some snippets prepared, so that's a very simple one. So here I just create one simple data frame in pandas, and it's going to be constructed. I click execute cells. It was constructed, but let's check what's inside. So I just do that, and then I have my data. And I can easily do any manipulation with my data. For instance, I want a new column, and I want it to be a sum of column A plus column C, for instance. And then I press again execute cells, and if I execute my diff again, I see column D. So everything is easy. And Pandas has a lot of built-in functions, many statistical functions like average, mean, whatever. And let's check, yeah, also like, for instance, head. Yeah, I get 5 head rows, or I can just get 1 column if I want. Here's my 1 column. So to just give you an idea, what is it? It's all run in your browser. Again, it's 0 configuration. You don't need to configure any Python, whatever. So just click install, and it's launched. That's what I like. But what about reality? That's nice stuff, right? So we can do a lot of it. But let's back to reality. Story 1. So that was a CDN service, and CDN is basically vendor launch service. That means that if we, for instance, sell one Sony PlayStation, then let's say Sony gives us 10 euro for each PlayStation sold. We had 3 days, and during day 1, we sold 2 PlayStations, so it's supposed to be 20 euros. And another very important thing that this sum is always accumulating. So next day, if we sell 3 PlayStations, it's going to be 50, because we sold already 20. And on day 3, there is an invoice generated to supplier, in this case Sony. Please pay us 50 euro, so we get some money. And that is fine, right? That's how it's supposed to be. But, well, what's happened? It was Black Friday, and yeah, you remember, last year. And it was doing pretty well. People were just buying stuff. And what was our expectation? Like this one. But it happens to be that it was Black Friday before Black Monday, because due to some software problem, actually just sort of fix for software, we were not counting correctly, and we got negative bookings and invoices. So it's kind of stupid because we really owed money to Sony PlayStation, for instance. But we sold a lot. So yeah, we have generated a lot of invoices in our system, and they were negative, unfortunately. Yeah, it was a silly situation. Actually, that's what was happened. So just briefly pictured. This rocket was supposed to be our small fix that was just introduced just before Black Friday. No regression, so yeah, it's okay. And what we did, we actually we found a problem, of course. We created a plan including data, checked on test stack, applied on Pro. But then, how can we verify that everything is totally fixed so we don't have these negative bookings and negative invoices anymore in our system? How can we be absolutely sure? And yeah, that was a question. And as it was in MongoDB, first reaction was, okay, let's create a Mongo query. The thing is that it's quite sophisticated Mongo query. And actually, we had no time, really. Just we needed to check all the system and make sure we don't have negative bookings, everything fine. And ideally also to generate an Excel report to our business analysts to make them really confident in our system. And as it was Golang service, another approach was supposed to be like, okay, let's implement it in Golang and deploy. But we just deployed this hot fix, and the last things we really wanted to do is just to deploy another fix or another fix again, and again, it needs an implementation. Or why not to use this combination that I have just demonstrated to you? How can we use it? As I said, it's zero configuration. It runs on your local machine. You don't need to deploy it to anywhere. So it's just a web application, and you can do whatever you want. So it's just a brief explanation about Jupyter, Pandas, and friends. Another library is Plotly. Plotly is widely used to do graphing stuff like creating a nice graph. And Anaconda just manages it all. So you start from Anaconda and you get in everything. So normal algorithm of actions for when working with Pandas, so for our particular situation. First, we need to fetch our data from some data source, from any data source actually. It might be SQL, DB, Mongo, as in our case, also web files, whatnot. So Pandas library offers almost everything except of Mongo. For Mongo, you don't need to install a separate driver, also via Anaconda. It's very easy. So after you fetch your data, you do some manipulations. For our case, it was, okay, let's group our bookings and let's make sure, or let's identify which bookings are decreasing. And the last step is just, after you formed a Pandas data frame, do something with it. So represent it somehow, or maybe send somewhere, or put it into Excel file. So it depends on what you want. Just a very small depict. So this is how we set an up connection in Mongo. That's our parameters we were interested in. And then we just execute a regular Mongo query. That's a fetch stage, fetch data into collection. Afterwards, we do this business logic. So we are arranging our data in order to identify our faulty bookings. So we just, in line 41, as you see, we making sure that current booking is greater than latest booking. So if booking is not decreasing, then everything fine. If it's decreasing, there's probably something wrong. And that is why we put it into faulty booking collection. So that's just pure Python code. And afterwards, we forming a Panda data frame. And let's back to the demo, because it's just slides. Yeah, so here's our browser. I have already prepared this story. I will increase font a little bit. I have already executed this query, and if I print, now I need to form my data frame, because I just arranged my logic. And what I want is to create a data frame out of it. You see, here is the next cell. And I can execute any cell, actually. Now I want to execute this one. And here's my data. So here are my faulty bookings, as you see. So previous booking was 27, but next one that was supposed to be greater is just 22, and so on and so on. And okay, so that's just raw data. It's not even sorted. Well, if I have multiple rows, because we had really multiple rows when we were tackling this problem, then it's going to be a problem. But let's do some. Oh, first of all, yeah, I will demonstrate you how to put it into Excel. It's very easy. So just create an Excel writer, and here is the format of Excel. Oh, it fails, as usual. Okay, no problem. Yeah, what is wrong? Traceback, most recent call. Okay, just sometimes it happens. That was not okay. Well, the scene is that Pandas says PD, Excel, Pandas import Excel writer. Oh, that's very easy to fix, I presume. Oh, not easy. Okay, forget about it. Let's return to something. Yeah, we can just simply clear our cells. Clear. And we can create maybe some diagram out of it to represent it as a diagram. Let's go and create, first of all, we need to do some preparations. So we want to create div column, and also, as we just put it previous booking as a string into our frame, it will probably fail, so we try to convert it into numeric. Okay, we did. We created another div column that is actually difference of previous booking and problem booking, so it's always positive. And let's create some diagrams out of it. For instance, pie chart. For this purpose, I will just use a plotly library. What we do here, so we say, for instance, remove all the divs that are less than €1, and yeah, the rest will remain. So let's do it, and then we will print a pie chart. Where is it? And here's it, but it's ugly, right? Because probably we have some really huge values, and if we see in first 7 rows, there are huge values that are dedicated to bold.com ref. That's what we use in CDN to identify certain booking. So maybe let's just filter out also these first 7 rows, right? So it's 0 to 6, then we should start from 7, and first rows will be excluded, and the rest we're interested in. And we see it now. It's a little bit better, so there are 3 decreasing conditions, 3 decreasing bookings, and we see it as a pie chart. We can also do some other fun stuff. For instance, we can create a bar plot diagram out of it. If I just, yeah, it's easy to create. So top divs is our data frame, and we specify X and Y, and then apply iplot, and we have our bar chart. It's all in your browser, all running locally, all running instantly, and let's try at least, if Excel doesn't work for some reason, let's try to import it maybe to CSV. There are multiple outputs, by the way, so CSV, Excel, HTML, also, I think you can publish it even to some URL. Top divs to CSV, if I'm not mistaken. My awesome CSV. Let's check. Okay, it looks like it works. It should be created in my home directory, and it's here. And if I open it, I see my data here. So it's open automatically in Excel, because, yeah, CSV is associated with Excel. So what's the output of all of this? Yeah, it's just not interested. It's another story, but it's how can you use it in testing. So this nearly the same story about how to speed up your testing and make it better with Pandas and Jupyter. Here we are arranging data. Then we form in data frame. So you see the sequence of actions is completely the same as it was in previous story. And then afterwards we just display a result, and it's going to be something like that. So here we're just combining multiple actions, multiple tables, and it's represented on single screens. That's very handy when we are testing specifically with business analysts sitting next behind. And what is takeaway? First of all, Jupyter, Pandas, and Plotly, and many other libraries, let's say, are very powerful tool for getting your data insights, and they can work with any data source. Yeah, I'm finishing. And it's easy to learn. It's really easy to learn. You just copy paste the examples and can adjust it a little bit to your scenario, and it works. Configuration, instant result, and try it. And thanks for your attention.
Yeah. One very short question, maybe. One very short answer, because we're already over time. Go.
You are connecting to the ACK environment. How do you connect to Pro?
Oh, it's the same way. Just specify credentials. So yeah, and but it's your local machine. It's your local machine. You are not running it anywhere. You are running it from your local computer. So it's just your password. You're not sharing it. We normally just say it like username, password, or as placeholder, and then you can just take this snippet and put it in your notebook and insert your password and username and connect to any environment, but only you.
All right, thanks again.
Yeah,
Give
thank
a
you.
big hand. Andrii.
Yeah, thanks guys.